For the best soul food in the Mid-South, it's Shop and Save. 1499 South 3rd, 901-946-4303. Serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and some of the items on their menu consist of catfish, spaghetti, chicken and dressing, turkey wings, meatloaf, fried chicken, cabbage, yam, greens, salmon croquette, and the list goes on. Some of the best soul food you ever taste in the Mid-South, it is Shop and Save. 1499 South 3rd. Call them again at 901-946-4303. Been in 1991. Shop and Save, 1499 South 3rd, 901-946-4303 for some of the best soul food you'll ever taste.
Are you looking for a good, honest mechanic? Well, you have found one. Hi, my name is Marcus Williams, owner of Automotive Repair for Less, offering you lesser rates for your automobile repairs. We do major and minor work replacing engines, transmissions, tune-ups, brakes, and almost anything you need in automotive repair. I'm located at 2975 James Road, in between Warford and Hollywood, on top of the overpass bridge. My number is 901-859-6169. That is again, 901-859-6169. Hopefully I'll hear from you. Automotive Repair for Less.
I watch y'all coming here for years, cause you shot somebody. Now your life is shot. You gonna pick that phone up one day, and that girl gonna be done dumped you and raise your child with another man. Or maybe your mama or your grandmama dies. Cause ain't nothing you can do about it. You got 15 to 20 years, state or fed time. Real talk. Don't lose your head, use your head, man. Gun crime, max time.
It's just a few cocktails at happy hour.
It's just a few cocktails at happy hour.
Really good try.
There aren't any cops around.
I didn't think there were any cops around.
I drink and drive all the time.
Sir, you've been in a serious crash. I need you to hang on, okay? Now.
This is Sergeant Chris Richardson with the Tennessee Highway Patrol, here to explain the Tennessee Hands-Free Law, which is a new state law effective July 1st, 2019. In Public Chapter 412, it makes it illegal for a driver to hold a cell phone or a mobile device with any part of their body, to write, send, or read any text-based communication, to reach for a cell phone or mobile device in a manner that requires the driver to no longer be in a seated driving position or properly restrained by a seatbelt, to watch a video or a movie on a cell phone or a mobile device, and to record or broadcast video on a cell phone or a mobile device. So, can I still talk on my cell phone while driving? Yes. A driver is permitted to use an earpiece, headphone device, or a device worn on a wrist to conduct a voice-based communication. The driver may use one button on a cell phone or mobile device to initiate or terminate voice communication, and voice-based communication may also be used to send a text message. Learn more at handsfreetn.com.
And welcome again to another edition of Talk Back Live with Bob and Josh. And I tell you what, it's been a while since we've been on, but we're back and having our regular show and our sports show and our other shows as well. We'll be all of our shows being broadcast once again here on the Talk Back Live network. And hey, I tell you what, we've got a show lined up for you today on March the 3rd, Friday, a Friday evening. And hey, we've got some great guests lined up for you tonight. They're all ready to go. And Josh, hey, it's going to be a good one.
Yes, sir. Good evening, everybody out there watching, listening, wherever you may be checking us out. Some y'all still coming in, man. It's been a minute since we've been live, but definitely glad you're on the Facebook Live, which is facebook.com, TalkBackLive with Bob and Josh. If you man, hit the notification, be notified for all of our live videos and put up. Also, youtube.com, TalkBackLive Network on YouTube as well. And Twitter at TalkBackLive, one word at TalkBackLive. So those are the ways you can follow us and check out all our platforms and different things like that, man. But we got quite the conversation that we're about to get into here.
Oh, yeah.
Which some of y'all probably could tell by the graphic before the show, but we're going to get into the reparations conversation. We've talked about this before for several times in the past. But
yeah, today we're taking it from another angle.
Yeah.
There
you go. Getting into it there. But yeah. Especially here locally, because it's been brought up locally.
Yeah.
Very recently. So we're going to get into that. What does it mean for Shelby County even broaching this discussion? And is it even possible to happen? Because a lot of times when you hear this, most people don't think this is even a possibility. But is it actually possible and realistic for this to even be a possibility? So,
yeah. And we're going to get into who's for it, who's opposed, what is reparations, why, and what is it if it is 9011360 for come with us today, and our special guests are standing by. And let's introduce Charlie Casewell, Shelby County Commissioner, and come to the show.
How you doing, sir? I pray all is well. It's good to be back with y'all guys.
Yes, sir.
I seen
definitely looking good, man.
I seen my picture on there with us back in the studio.
Man.
Well, I mean, that's the only one. That's the only one we could find.
Yes, sir. How's it going?
Yeah. Hey, it's good. It's good to have you with us today. And you with District 6, aren't you? Is that what you were?
Yeah, District 6. Yes, sir.
Shelby County Commission?
Shelby County Commission, okay. The District 6.
All right. Yep. And also glad. Yes, sir. Also, we're glad to have with us Jett Lucas. And Jett, welcome to the show.
Brother Jett.
Brother.
Welcome, and good evening. What's going on? Good to see you again, Casewell.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's been about a month or two.
You can tell it's been so. You can tell it's been a while because, see, I'm forgetting already to call you Brother Jett.
Yeah, I almost called you and Josh, Lance Russell and Dave Brown. So I don't hold it against you.
You won't have to worry about that anymore. We resigned from that, so we're no wrestling announcers.
Yeah. Well, that's good because we got too much business to get through. That's good.
Yeah, we got too much going on, family things and things of that nature, and so. Officially on our show, we are just said Bob and Josh no longer wrestling announcers at Bluff City Wrestling Television or whatever. We're not doing that anymore. We resigned and take care of family issues and things that are going on. And But thanks for the opportunity. Those that afforded it us, and we're thankful. All right. Again, the number 901-213-6020. And guys, I'll tell you what, Charlie, let me start with you. Talking about reparations.
Yes, sir.
This is the topic. Reparations. Yes.
And if I could just go into it real quick. Now I know we've talked about that before, reparations in different areas. But talk about how to even get the conversation introduced to Shelby County Commission and what is that? What's going on?
Well, first of all,
Yeah.
let's see, because a lot of people may not know what reparations is. Yeah. What? Charlie, can you explain that to us in your own?
Yeah, in my own. Yes, sir.
What is reparations and what's the court?
Yeah, it for those who don't know, maybe that haven't been around somewhere, but to know that we as Black people were brought to America in 1619, not by our own free will, it was by the force of those who wished to enslave us as a people, and in that it was the slave labor of those of our ancestors that they used for free to build the wealth of a nation that they call their America. And in that time, and from that time, whether it was when the promise was made to us right before the 14th Amendment that that we'll get 40 acres in a mule for the labor our ancestors did in our community for this country, we know that was then snatched back after the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. So therefore, the continual injustice that were put on the African-American people going into Reconstruction, going into Jim Crow, going into the Civil Rights Movement, going into the war on drugs, that we understand that it's been intentionally systems that was created by a race that had control in this country from the beginning, because they took that control and kept that control and still in control. So the lesson of reparation is just receiving what our ancestors, just as their ancestors was able to pass down wealth to them off the back of our ancestors. It is that we then now understand how do we again address the unaddressed trauma that we as Black folks still live with today because of that history that we had no control
over. Okay. And Charlie, Jett, let me turn to Jett. If you could give your analogy of reparations and because a lot of us don't, we have different opinions about it. Even Black people have different opinions and their own voice about reparations and maybe they don't know the full extent or what it is at and how is it available for
and
Jett.
that is true, and that's why we have so many different ideals of how it's to be paid, who's to be given to, and all of that, because we don't understand the definition of reparations. Now, there are multiple definitions of reparations, but in general and the simplest terms, reparations are as follows. Reparations are the act or process of making amends for a wrong. According to United Nations, adequate, effective, and prompt reparations is intended to promote justice by redressing gross violations of international human rights laws. And that's in a nutshell, right? That's what we're trying to do here. And that's reparations. Now, as there are multiple countries and multiple areas and ethnicities that are seeking reparations in the past, that have seeked them, and that are currently still seeking them. But I think the reparations we're dealing with for the purpose of today is American reparations for descendants of American slavery. If y'all can agree with that, I don't want to say that, speak for everybody on that.
Yeah.
Or
But that's what we
let me ask this, gentleman.
Go ahead, Bob.
Let me ask, Charlie. I'll get with your comment. Let me ask you this: we've had there's been some news about certain people owed reparations for certain reasons, but they've gotten their reparations, whether it be I don't know, England or in the American Indian, or go ahead. They've received. Everybody's gotten them in some point or another, at some point or another, except for people. Why is that, or is that really the case? Some people are saying.
Well, if I can add to that, Bob, whether it's the Japanese people that was done wrong in the when that time happened, or the Jewish people that was done wrong that received their reparations, and still we see even the Indians that are receiving reservations and lands where they can have casinos and build wealth in their community. I think they still haven't received a full just due, but it is some things that's been done. But this is, and I think why is that you haven't had Black people that has been in power to make that decision. And that's where we came in and felt like we just can't keep kicking the can down the road without talking about what's not been addressed. I think that the fear of
but you say it's okay, but has the American Indian, do they have people in places that have spoken up for them, or it's not that many of them? But why, if that's not the case, then why did they get what they got?
Well, I think Bob, I think with the Indian people, it's undeniable, right? It's as it is with us. But when you look at the fact that they looked at how the Pilgrims came over with the Indians and tricked them out of the land and kicked them. So we know those things happen, right? We know this. But it's still, they have not received the full just of what is due to them when it comes to what was stolen from even the Indian people, right? Giving them a piece in Arizona or in Minnesota, wherever they got their reservations and they can do, and they're keeping them in that close confinement to, the gain wealth, however they doing it. We just got to, as a people, then come together. I think where we have lacked, and I was talking to you earlier, Bob, about this, that systematically, I believe our brains have been programmed to hate each other, to fight against each other. And we still seeing it today, whether it came from the Willie Lynch letter that taught them how to treat Black folks, to set them up systematically, to treat each other, light skin against the dark skin, the old against the young. And we still see that today. And so it is systems that we have conformed to as a people because of that slave mindset. That's why I push really hard on this resolution from a traumatic capacity, because traumatically, the epigenetics of my ancestor is my blueprint of who I am today. And again, so those systems, and so we're just at a time, the first shall be last and the last shall be first. I just think that we're at a time for what's been gone unaddressed. It's time for us to address it. And we just chose to be bold about it here in Shelby County and make the vote. Again, a vote that is on studying, which we have a ton of research, and the research is out there. Harvard University, research that I went with. Go ahead.
Let's talk about that in just a little bit. That too soon. We're gonna get to that. What you got there going on in the Shelby County. Jett, what would you say about that?
Well, I don't know if it's just me and maybe it's just my internet, but it seems to be breaking up. I'm missing a lot. But I got enough. But what I do want to add to Casewell's list of people who receive redress or reparations for slavery, one that may shock a lot of people out there is there's another group of people who did receive reparations from America where slavery pertained, and that is slave owners. They received compensation for their property that was lost. they were paid. I think 1862, I believe, and I'm not going to try to look this stuff up because my internet is choppy as it is, so I'm not going to load it down. But I think in 1862, 1862, I believe it was, the Lincoln administration, so it's the Compensation Act, District of Columbia Compensation Act or something. But slave owners received $300 per slave, I believe it was, which amounts today to $8,000, somewhere around $8,000 per slave, for their loss of property. So they were paid reparations. I think in Europe they paid reparations to slave owners as well, which in total amounted to somewhere around today's dollars, $16 billion or something like that. So they giving out money for reparations, for damages. Just for some reason, they just have a huge pushback where we're concerned. And everybody out there listening, y'all can look these things up. I don't expect you to take my word for it, but it was look up the District of Columbus Compensation Act or something like that. You'll find it, or just Google America paid slave owners reparation. You'll find it.
Okay, all right, and those that were in the conversation, this may interest you in some way. You're welcome to leave a comment on Facebook, or you're welcome, or YouTube. I guess they can leave comments. Or you can call at 901-213-020 and talk to our guests. All right, we're going to get back to this in reparations and talk a little bit more about the things that have gone in the past. But Charlie, if I will, sir, if I may, the Shelby County Commission, you guys voted on something concerning reparations. That and tell us what happened.
Yeah, Bob, again, I say, so what happened, and I was working on some reparation bill especially around the grounds of clinical studying, because I was doing a lot of work with mental health with the kids, even during the pandemic where kids were not going to school. We was holding mental health checkups for the kids. And then LaBonna heard about what we were doing, and they came into the community as we formed a clinic there at Impact Church in Fraser, because we know the kids was not getting their well-child checkups. And so what I heard from LaBonna was that 80% of Black children were not going to the hospital until they see ER. They weren't coming regularly to a physician or to their appointments. Now they're seeing 70% more children in Fraser than they were before this happened. And so I began to really look up across the country as I was traveling, going to other cities, hearing it in urban communities, the same type of impact. And so then I saw a study right after this, as I got elected in September, and I started looking into this deeper and saw where Harvard University did a research study that showed that Black folks if they would have received reparation, they wouldn't have been impacted at least 61% more than even their white counterparts, because of lack to health care, the redlining of their communities, so many other pieces of things that kept us from gaining the wealth that white wealth is. And so when I found out, and I shared it with one of my colleagues, that this is something that we're looking to bring forth, found out that Commissioner Edmund Ford, he'd been doing his homework for many years on this case, and he had a resolution, and we married those items together to talk about it in a way. If we were, and so I know a lot of times people misconstrue because they hear the media and they heard $5 million. That's nothing for 500,000 plus Black folks in Shelby County. That's only like $10. So we ain't talking about that. We talking about the fact that we can go deeper and research and bringing people like yourself and Jett, those people who understand this, to the table and talk about this in a deeper capacity that justify. Because at the end of the day, we as commissioners, we over $1.5 billion budget every year. And that's just here locally. We ain't talking about the $1 trillion at the state level that we ain't even touching. And we ain't talking about the multi-trillions at the federal level that's getting left on the table, because when people that don't look like us that are in control say we don't have to go after that money, they'll be all right in their community. Now the tables have turned. We have the capacity. We hire the lobbyists. We see now the money that's not only on the table, but being left on the table, and that could have impacted our community, and help bring people out of that wealth gap. We can change the story through some of these researches when we talk about those redlining communities, where now investors are coming in from California all over, buying land in downtown Memphis, what was thought to be nothing, where our parents grew up at. And now they worth $3,000-$4,000 just for one bedroom condominiums. And so we saying, how do we make sure before we keep going down this road that Black folks are in the game? And that's where this gives us some capacity to begin to build on that.
Yeah, and I agree.
Okay, now when you had this meeting, go ahead, Jett.
Oh no, I was just piggyback on what Charlie Casewell was saying about the properties and the values, and as we know, there's been studies. Recent study came out, I believe, in Washington Post or New York Times, one of them, that showed where Black people's homes get appraised for hundreds of thousands of dollars less than their counterparts in the same neighborhood, sometimes across the street, with less updates and upgrades. And so even in the housing game, even if we bought downtown, that does not translate into the same wealth for us as it do for other people because of traditional slavery, Jim Crowism, and imaginary racism. See, this racial game is
so you guys are telling me we'll get back to the we'll get back to the commission thing in just a minute here. You guys are saying in a nutshell here, if this is what you're saying, and I've seen as myself, is that when you see a house for sale, that house, the retailer or the realtor will say, okay, this house is for $350,000. Okay, now that price that they tell me as a Black man, is that the white person, or is that the price to say that it is? So in case a Black person buy it, this is what they're at. But do Black when a white same house, they don't pay $300,000, maybe $250,000. You could believe that type of stuff going on in our community.
Yeah, I heard a lot of that, and I could tell where you were going. I didn't hear the entire conversation, but I believe what you were asking was that how that worked, and sure is how it worked. And second to that is you rarely see white people anyway buy Black people's homes, right? It is understood. It is understood and taught when we go buy their homes, it's a surplus because we're usually getting out of our community. It's a want. It's a driven thing, right? Whether it be crime, good schools, or whatever the things we seek. So we pay a premium for their homes, and they don't buy our homes. They wait till it gentrifies and buy for pennies on the dollar. So we don't get that wealth. They get ours for free, and we pay extra for theirs. And that's through traditional.
Well, I guess
all of these things that
brought
us here.
I guess what I'm saying is this. I'm not saying in either one of the communities. I'm saying you go to a white community, okay, and the sign on the house is $450,000. Is that price for Black people who want to buy that house, or is that sign for everybody? This is what I'm trying. Or is that a sign of that price? That sign is lowered when the white person want to come by. Does that ever happen?
I don't know. I'm a realtor as well. But I don't know that happens. But what will happen is everybody has a standard appraised value, right? And you can basically judge by what the houses around you are selling for, factored in the square footage and number of baths and then upgrades and things like that. So you can determine your value. But the thing that happens to Black people is when the appraiser comes by, then they tell you what the bank will lend on your property. And that's where the water gets muddy, right there. You think you're getting ready to sell your house for $600,000.
Okay. We're experiencing some technical difficulties. So
more than what the house is worth.
Are you still there?
I am. It faded out for a second. I faded out.
Yeah, you faded out for a second. But Bob, if I can add to that, you had something. If I can add to what Jett was saying, so take my neighborhood of Scenic Hills. My neighborhood of Scenic Hills, when white people lived in there, the houses was going for $300,000-$400,000. Now, when Black folks living in there, they went down to $125,000. And so this is what we're talking about. And then when Amazon and Nike moved up the street, it took us up a little bit to $250,000. So we got the equity, which gave us an opportunity to invest in our business and build some capital and wealth and part to our family. But this is where it get muddy, is that right now, if I took all my neighbors and moved out and said, hey, y'all, we're going to put some white folks in here and let the assessor come in here, we'll see them houses go back up to $400,000 because white folks living in those houses in that community. But when it's us, it go down. And again, because why? They know that's how we leverage, that's how you leverage wealth in this country. Right now, houses in North Memphis should be $150,000, being closer in their proximity of downtown. But because it's a Black community, they probably ain't worth $30,000. And therefore, when they go to the bank, they can't get the equity that would allow them to invest and gain wealth for their families.
Okay, just jump in for a second. Now, I think what's such a big problem too. I was watching the news clip on the Shelby County Commission meeting. You're going to have a split on reparations or money for Black folks. You're going to be like, I don't know. I think y'all need to work harder for that money. You know what I'm saying? But so. Is it kind of discouraging? Because I was looking and they were showing, the one lady was talking about how I just think this is un-American. These reparations they're asking for. I just don't feel it's the American way, which I'm sure a lot of stuff that way. It wasn't American. You know what I'm saying? But how does it feel when you hear those type of reactions? And it seems like that's the type of opposition that you come against. And of course, you're going to find differences of opinions on things like this all the time. But how do you kind of navigate around such a pushback?
So, Bob and Josh, I'm going to tell y'all something. Y'all should know the sports of wrestling pretty well. And in the back, they drinking the same wine, dining on the drink. Then they come out fighting, right? Got to put on the show. I say this is that when you're in the world of politics, sadly, because some of the same people that made those statements, if the word was changed to reconciliation or another word, it would have passed with no doubt about it. But because again, some of the constituents in which they serve, they want to hear you fight. They want to hear you come out swinging. And because that's how they think. You got to think about our last president. This was a man that said anything off the cuff. Why? Because the people wanted to hear somebody fight against what they've been fighting against for generations. So this is what's embedded in them. The hate, us and make us feel as if we're un-American for what we built America to be. The resilience of this country is off the backs of what Black folks done, and we know this. And the thing is, you're not dealing with Black folk that don't know their history or don't know who they are. But so those type of things, as the word of God tells me, shake the dust off your feet and move on. We got the votes. Now let's do the work and let's do what we got to do.
Definitely. Okay. All right. 9012136023. Yeah, Charlie, let's go back to the county commission meeting that you guys had. From what I understand, there was a lot of
I think you're going there what I was just talking about.
there was a lot of disagreement going on in there, and the vote was one-sided. It was split. It was split. Let's put it that way. It was split.
Yeah.
And to me, what's so odd, well, I wouldn't say odd, so bad about the vote is you have I'm not saying that's the right number, but what I'm saying, it was split down the middle, and it was split between white and black.
White and black, right? Yeah.
Split between white. What is, and why would the white people want black people not to have reparations? What is going on with that?
Well, that word goes back, and again, it's admitting they wrong. He read the definition. It's admitting the wrong that a lot of people feel like we don't have to admit to. I wasn't alive when that happened, but you reap the benefits of what it is. What kind of benefits? The Federal Reserve shows that the average black family in America, if you take America as a whole, and I know, Bob, you worth more than this, but the average black family is about 300,000. You take the same white family, it's worth $1.4 million. Where did that 4 times of gain of wealth come from, other than it came off the back and the labor of those who your ancestors, as he just shared it, they got tax dollars for giving slaves up, but the slave who worked the farm and made them who they are got nothing. And so that word reparation is an admission of guilt that a check, as Dr. King was getting ready. That's why they killed Dr. King, because he was headed back to DC on the war on poverty to get the check that wasn't collected. And so now, the fear of who is these Negroes to think that they can come in here and talk about, because this is what, sadly, some of the blogs and some of the emails I've been getting, where Negroes, y'all can keep Shelby County. We'll move out of Shelby County, let y'all pay y'all own reparation. Well, for me, the scripture said the wealth of the wicked is handed over to the hands of the right. I love to buy a house in Germantown for $125,000, right? Like Seneca went to $125,000. So because I know that so again, it's about being strategic and not being ignorant. It's not, and again, some of them who said they was mad about the word reparation would have voted if it said something else. We just set well, I ain't gonna say it's a precedent because it's been done before in other counties and other places, but we did what we felt needed to be done to move us forward and heal as we begin to build.
Yeah, I think reparations was the right language. Yeah, reparations is the right language, and those guys wouldn't have voted for it if you had changed the language, because they would have said you were trying to sneak and swindle something past them at that point. I'm glad we started calling the thing a thing and using the right language, because the same thing happened with civil rights and things like that. They lumped in all kind of others, right? With that, and that's why those programs and things don't work, right? Whether it be affirmative action or anything, right? Because then with affirmative action, women are a minority, just like homosexuals and all that. What do you have anything to do with those demographics or not? That ends up missing the mark on what the goal is, right? What the goal is. And so yeah, and if you deal with numbers, I heard uh, Commissioner Casewell talking about the wealth of the 300,000 versus the 100,000, and all of that. Surprisingly, is when you back out debt, right? Or if debt is accounted for that wealth, right? Debt is, and so then when you start counting the debt, because most of that wealth that we were just talking about, some of it for white people are businesses they own and things like that, but most of it is your home in your car, right? And we just went over the numbers about what happened to us in our homes versus what happens to them when they move and leave their homes, right? So if you back out, if you take away debt, right? And we got to stop doing this too as a people. We're the only people in the world. You would never hear anybody else on the entire planet judge their value by how much money they spend. And we do it all the time because we talk about black people have so many trillions of dollars spending power, right? We get judged by how it's still, that's still slave labor. Do y'all realize that I remember when they were talking about putting Harriet Tubman or somebody on the $20 bill. Do y'all realize that there was a time when black people were on actual money? Yeah, before the end of the Civil War, the Confederates had put black slaves on their currency, right? And so we've been there.
I think we lost Brother Jett there. Yeah.
Yeah, are you there? We just lost Jett right there.
Yeah.
But
He making some
a great
point
there.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. And I paused there because I saw I was spinning there. And so yeah, I try not to judge us and our spending power. But if you back out the home and the car, black people are only worth less than $1,700 net worth, right? And white people are worth somewhere around 37,000, and Hispanics and everybody are ahead of us. The only people that are ahead of white people in this world is Asians, and that's uh, East East Indians and Asian Asian population. Those are the only people that are ahead of white people in America, and we are down at the bottom. We're down at the bottom. So it's abysmal, our houses and cars. To me, I don't like to factor those things in our wealth because when we sell them, we don't gain what everybody else gained due to traditional racism and oppressions, right? All of these things still count. Do you know that what happened to our reparations plan? We did have a reparations plan in somewhere around 1867, 66 or 67. What happened was there was a group of white people. This is a reason why I don't like people being concerned with what we will do with reparations if we get it right. I don't like people being concerned with that because it's not your concern. Reparations are not to make we do it more than anybody. We said black people will just buy cigarettes and drugs and Cadillacs with it, right? Well, reparations are not to make us any more moral than anybody else in America. What reparations are here to do is make us equitable to everybody else here in America, right? For as long as we've been here, and so when we had well, let me finish this thought. When we had a okay, all right.
As well, guys, hang on just a minute. We want to take a little break here, and when we come back, we want to continue our conversation on this, which is very. And with a lot of, I hope people are getting knowledge from all of this.
Absolutely.
And I hope they got some comments and questions.
Trying to get reparations.
Yeah, definitely.
Let me repeat about trying to get reparations, and then those that are against reparations. When I say against, I that say hey, I'm not for reparations, and let's get to the bottom of that of where you guys think why black people are saying, and what are they saying about it? Let's take a break. We come back. We're gonna get this pretty heavy, and we're gonna hear what our own people what you and I, people like us, are saying about reparations. We'll be back after this. You're listening to Talk Back Live with Bob
and Josh,
right here on the Talk Back Live network. We'll be back.
Act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
It's not for the best soul food in the Mid-South. It's Shop and Save. 1499 3rd, 901-946-4303. Serving breakfast, lunch, dinner, and some of the items on their menu consist of catfish, spaghetti, chicken and dressing, turkey wings, meatloaf, fried chicken, cabbage, yam, greens, croquette, and the list goes on. Some of the best food you ever taste in the Mid-South, it is Shop 1499 South 3rd. Call them again at 996-4303. Been in business since 1991. Shop and Save, 1499 South 3rd, 901-946-4303 for some of the best soul food you'll ever taste.
I watch y'all coming here for years, cause you shot somebody. Now your life is shot. You gonna pick that phone up one day, and that girl gonna be done dumped you and raise your child with another man. Or maybe your mama or your grandmama dies. Cause ain't nothing you can do about it. You got 15 to 20 years, state or fed time. Real talk. Don't lose your head, use your head, man. Prime max time.
And welcome back to the show, Talk Back Live with Bob
and Josh.
It is now 6:51, 51 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock p.m. on a Friday. And I tell you what, we're having a good time today on this March the 3rd. Look, we're talking about reparations. And we got two very good guests. Hey, it is hot in this room. I'm pretty sure some people that have tuned in have tuned out because, listen, before the break, we were talking, and this is probably the reason why, guys. Welcome back to the show, Commissioner Charlie Casewell of Division 6 County
Commission
C6. Brother Jett. Jett, tell us about your network a little bit briefly there.
Okay, well, it's not my network, but I do a podcast, a weekly podcast podcast is called 901 Voices and Votes. And it's powered by 118 Media Group. So we have a family of shows over there, and as always, I was invited to be a co-host on that. So I took it, and it was good. And I always want to be informative. In fact, brother Commissioner Charlie Casewell was our very first guest on that
Yes, sir.
podcast. So yeah. Yeah, so look
Yeah.
forward every we put that out every Monday morning, and we have a lot of guests and information coming through the community. As I always say, a person's choices can only be as good as the information they have, and so I try to give information.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
sir.
true. And y'all know that clip. I played during the break
You
or
played
heading
the
into break with Martin Luther King.
yeah, you played the right one, Doc.
Yeah, because see that was you don't hear that during MLK Day. You know what I'm saying? Or people playing that clip of Martin Luther King talking about
No, they
stuff like
want
that.
us to.
Just go.
I'm sorry, John. Yeah.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
They want us to stick on the dream and not attain the things. And so the thing was, yes, we love him as the dreamer, but we know that he was on a mission and on an assignment to take back what the enemy has taken. And he had a great mission in doing that. And so now all we are here in Shelby County at this time is fulfilling what the dream is. We're going to go deep, and we're not, you know what I'm saying? We didn't get in this overnight. We ain't gonna try to get out of it overnight. So like some of the parts of the pillar of study, as Brother Jett talked about, and Jett, I'm with you. I understand once you get your check, you can do what you want, but at least we can prepare you, right? It was a story my dad used to tell me about the sheep on the daddy sheep and the father sheep on the top of the hill. He said the son sheep said, let's run down and get one of these sheeps. And the daddy said, let's walk down and get them all. And so the thing is that a lot of times we want to run and get it. I know that was in the movie Colors later when I heard it. But that's what we want to do. You got to walk down and get it all. And it's time out for asking for a slice of the pie. It's time to get the whole pie. And then we can divide up how we want to do it.
And I'm glad Caswell said that because that's something we've always done throughout this. So there's no doubt to me that whenever we get whatever we demand, right, that there will always be programs to uplift brothers. Back in the 60s, the Black Panthers had social programs that were way 100 times more effective than government programs. But our government shut them down because they were working. We always had, and see, now we would have the money to finance these things to help.
Yeah.
And are you there?
Yeah. So when Brother Jett started shouting over there, his thing go out.
It's frustrating.
Man, what would he get into? But we're having technical difficulty today with the internet, and
y'all want me to get on the phone?
Comcast.
Y'all want me to get on the phone?
It's gonna do
like a caller or something. Well, I'll just be on the phone. That's it. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, let me try the phone.
On the phone.
Yeah, they don't need to see my face. Let's try that. All right, okay.
You know
yeah, I think I go to know this 60-20.
You know the number.
Yeah, okay.
Our guest today, Commissioner Shelby County Commissioner Charlie Casewell, and we're glad to have him on today as our special guest. And they recently had some talk with the Shelby County Commission about reparations, and we want to hear some more from him about that. Now, from what I understand, there was a difference in the Shelby County Commission voted for the most part. The other side were all white. That no, they voted against reparations in whatever the capacity or whatever they were talking about, how they wanted it to be, and all of that kind of stuff. But we want to know why did all of the whites vote against reparations when they know what is owed to the black people? Why did they vote? Why did they vote against? Yeah, go ahead.
Let's see if I can get him in.
Okay, bro, Jett.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Let's
see
try.
how. Yeah,
we can hear you so far. We got
you. You can hear him. I can't hear him though.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's up to you.
Yeah, Bob, I wonder if the listeners can hear.
Go ahead. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can't hear Bob.
Okay, you hear me, Jett? Jett. Okay, Charlie, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but
Can
even
you
when
hear
I'm
Jett?
on, I can't hear Jett, nor the social media can hear him. It's dead. I mean, it's just dead air. It's just.
Okay, all right. We're gonna continue the conversation. Charlie, Shelby County Commissioner, listen. Before we went to the break, I was talking of you got enough going as it is when you and no to reparations. Okay. And there are some people like us, black, that are telling us, go to work, man. Earn your own money.
That's good.
I mean, lift yourself up by your bootstraps. Go to work and forget about reparations. If you or hand you out, nothing, just sit around and be lazy. Is that what you waiting on? Reparations for somebody something. Charlie, what do you think of
Bob, I think people got the right to their own opinion
what is
about how they choose to live. I think, but yet in the seat that I sit in, I believe that it's my duty to make sure that the constituents are served justly. This body have not looked always like this body. I meaning that if you walk down the halls of these walls, we may have been 2 on the seats, 3 on the seats. This is the first time in history that we have had this number of people, 5 historically, 5 black women and two white women. 7 women are the majority. And so this 8, we got 8 blacks, but we got 9 Democrats that's on this body. This body has never looked like this. And so therefore, for us to address the quality of life for 960,000 residents in this community, knowing the research that we have, knowing the data that we have, we would do an injustice. I don't want nobody coming after me saying they knew this and did nothing. I didn't come here just to sit here knowing when I've been on the ground. I've been doing the work. I've been told, oh, we don't have money for this. We don't have money for that. While we was feeding 6,000 people during a storm, and our government wasn't in Fraser doing it, during the pandemic, feeding 9,000 people, and our government wasn't there helping us do it. And then to get here, to see we sending back 90 million here, 730 million sitting at the state in unreserved funds that's supposed to be in the hands of black people, poor people rather, in our communities. That's an injustice. So for us to come here, I don't want to hear what we can do. It's what we got to do to address what's been done to us. We keep asking what's wrong with black folks. It's not what's wrong, it's what happened. And what's continued to happen is that they have
trauma.
Indoctrinated, traumatized many Negroes to believe they made it. When Brother Jett just broke down the data, because you riding in a new Jaguar, because you living in a $500,000 house, you still poor just in a big house. That's all it is. You don't have no generational wealth. If something happened to you, your children ain't going to inherit nothing but debt, and you ain't going to leave them nothing. And that's where we are as a people right now. But how do we, through this reparation, begin to study how do we break that cycle? How do we break that mindset that was intentionally put upon us to believe the things that we believe when we think we made it somewhere and we have not? So that's what I'm called to do and assigned to do in the seat that I sit in. And I believe my colleagues feel the same way. That's why we stuck with the word reparation. That's why we stuck with the vote. And now we move forward with the work.
Executive. And I can't wait till we get started actually moving forward with these studies to show. And I'm here for the pushback, because I believe their questions need to be answered. But I mean, our white counterparts, some of them really want to know. Some of them just don't know and don't realize. There was a study that was recently done to show only 6% of white Americans agree with cash payments to Black Americans for reparations. And as I said before, one of the biggest questions was always America couldn't afford it. But we've shown that we could afford the things we want to pay for, whether it be war, aid, or whatever else, right? We can afford it. The second biggest question was, well, how do we know who, right? I think the study has to bear that out as well. And I think it's easy to know who. I don't think you have to take a genealogy test to know who. I think if our grandparents, if for Black people in America, now, it may be different for Haiti, it may be different for Europe and all the other places, but for Black people in America, if your grandparents were here in the 50s and 60s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, and they claim Black on the census, they get reparations. Because guess what? It wasn't no Black people migrating to America in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 30s, 40s, and 50s and 60s, right? That didn't start happening until the 70s and 80s. And that was intentional just for America to get rid of this Black problem. Right? The reason why you see so many doctors when you see Black achievement, right? That's the reason why a lot of it is foreign, because America injected and got the best and brightest from other countries, dark skinned people from other countries, so to the world can look like, look, our race problem is okay here. These Black people can excel, and now what's wrong with those Black people? Right? That was intentional. You didn't have a large migration. In fact, they had a limitation on migration in this country until the late 60s and 70s. And Reagan, and the Reagan years, it exploded. It exploded, right? But prior to then, and everybody who came over here during the 50s, 60s, and after that time, you volunteered for what this is, right? But we didn't.
Yeah. You're getting into something else. It's good though, but it's all tied in here. But you're getting into something else there that we need to talk. We didn't have a show on that.
Let me throw this out.
Go
It's a rip-off effect of it all, though. Yeah,
it is. It'll come out in this study because it would have to. Yeah.
Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, if just to get this out now, GKP, I know you're watching. If you're where you are in your studio, I can send you a link because I know he kind of is one that's not big on reparations as a Black man.
I would love for him to get on here. Yeah.
Him and Jett, so GKP, if you where you can get in here. That we've been looking for somebody in the opposition side of things.
Yeah,
so that would be perfect.
Can we send in the link?
Yeah, I can definitely just let me know. Let me know in the comments.
Yeah,
you
GK
can't-
would be glad to send you the link.
And if he can't get on with that link, he'll be the first person in history that can't get on with the link.
It wasn't Jett.
Inside joke.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
Yeah.
Commissioner, man, we appreciate you joining us tonight, and Brother Jett, man, we appreciate y'all joining us.
You know what?
I'm
sorry. And I just thought of something because I was listening to it.
Yeah.
And some of y'all might have saw I posted it. I think it was a couple weeks ago. I know, Jett, you saw. It was this interview or Roland Martin and Patrick Bet-David on YouTube. And they were talking about this whole thought process of Black folks, being victims in a lot of situations. And there's one part that kind of was what we were talking about when it came to housing, different things like that. Now, Patrick Bet-David is Middle Eastern, but
supposedly,
I thought, and I thought it was just white, but even though he nonetheless, I want y'all to hear the perspectives here and how literally blind or willingly blind, I guess you could say, some people are to things Black folks go through. Just listen to this real quick, just this specific part, and some of it may even surprise y'all. So listen to this, and YouTube Bob and everybody out there, and we'll be back. Okay.
Class began to move away. Then within the African American community, when you dealt with Jim Crow, you couldn't live anywhere else. You literally could not live anywhere else. Bottom line is, if you were Black and had money, and then you were literally living in the same neighborhood. After Jim Crow ends with integration happened, those African Americans who were middle class, upper middle class, began to move away. What then began to happen was you had areas where poverty increased even more so.
Why move away, though? Why move away?
Because
if you care about the community, why not stay there and change it?
Well, first of all, does anybody else move?
What do you mean?
Who the hell else don't move? How do you think suburbs were created?
But wait a minute.
What do you mean? How do you think white flight was created? So everybody else get to move, but we can't move?
No, but if you act like you care about the community as much
guess
as
what?
you do, stay
but
there.
Hold on. But I'll answer your question. Do you know why? Because when African Americans were living in Black neighborhoods, they also had economically depressed housing values. And the reality is they were not able to
change it. Help change it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I am. I'll give you an idea. Are you familiar with Palmdale?
I'm gonna need you to be drug tested. Seriously.
Yeah.
Do you even know today? We've done the stories in Florida when somebody's Black selling their house, the appraisers and literally give them a value $100,000 to $300,000 less because they're Black. You know that's actually happened, right?
You'll take one story and say that.
Oh my God!
On how many occasions has that happened?
Are you serious?
Do you think a message like
why don't you go ahead and Google? Why don't you go ahead and Google?
How many times has that happened? No, I believe it's happened, but how many times has that happened?
The New York Times literally just did a story talking about the systemic racism that exists within housing appraisals. This is a fundamental problem. I'm trying to see you're living in a different reality.
What progress are you making by saying that?
What progress?
So what you're doing?
I'm trying to end that. Okay. Do you know how inherent? Okay, hold on. You said you're Middle Eastern, right?
You're trying to.
Hold on. You said you're Middle Eastern, right?
I am. Yes.
How would you feel? How would you feel?
Yes.
If you're selling your home, you got a home that you know,
right?
And you put upgrades in it, and you know your home is worth $500,000.
Yeah.
And somebody comes into your home, and they see your photos,
right?
And they see your family, and then they go back and they go $350,000. You go, what the hell?
So you tell that story.
Wait, one second.
To get people to be convinced that's happening.
It's actually
out of 1,000 appraisals.
Oh my God.
Out of 1,000 appraisals, how many times has that happened? Out of 1,000 appraisals, how many times has that happened?
You want to pull that up? You want him to pull that up?
That's your world, though. Out of 1,000 appraisals, how many times does that happen? Let's just say it happens.
It is a significant issue in America.
Oh my God!
And wait 1 second. And then when the woman, a black person should not have to remove their photos from the wall and remove black art and remove black books to have a white man come in and go, oh, it's actually 550. So one second, because I'm going to show you how it impacts generationally.
Here we go.
So when you follow me here, because this is housing discrimination in America. When you then get that lower appraisal, you then cannot sell your house for the higher value, which then means you are not then taking those proceeds and being able to invest, being able to send your kids to school. And what I'm trying to explain to you is there is a world out here that for some reason you're like living in Unity world that ain't the real America.
Brother,
and I'm trying to get rid of that stuff.
So if you can hear that, I was and watching. Oh, are people really like this? Where they really think what Roland was saying is like, oh, black folks are living in a fantasy world where people aren't equal. Oh my goodness. What y'all just give me your thoughts.
Commissioner, go first. Wait, is it a fantasy world?
Yeah, it is a fantasy world to think we equal. I mean, I see it every day. In my world of a $1.5 billion budget, just the 6 months that I've been here, to see that not even about 1% of that budget going to any black companies, and we're trying to put a stop to that and putting in place an MWBE that make it equal. But we're 60% of this county, and we probably get 1% of the contracts. And then when you talk to contractors and ask, why are y'all not at the table? Well, the capital, the insurance you got to have, the bonds you got, the fact that they live in the inner city community, in their house, they can't go get an equity loan because they don't have nothing, no assets to build capital off of. And their credit been just trying to survive to get the business started because, again, you start behind the 8 ball. Some people who had that advantage of their parents passing down.
Yeah, Commissioner, let me ask you this then. This is a majority, right?
Say a majority black county.
Am I right?
You said a majority black county?
Black county, black city.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, city, county. Okay. Why are we having difficulty as business winning contracts when we're majority city? Why is that?
I'm finna give you one. How many black black companies radio show that you know have brought their assets together to have one big thing? How many in the city do you know of? And so you probably can't tell. So everybody in their own space, right? Everybody trying to have their own show. Everybody trying to do their own thing. And so the thing is, we have failed to come together. Even if you took 5 contractors who got dump trucks right now and they came together and formed one corporation, they'll have enough capacity to get the contract that know that the job can get done. Everybody will go home and everybody will eat, but nobody will want to come to the table and work together that way. Why? Because, again, the Willie Lynch mindset of I got to compete against you instead of complete you to be able to come out of this. Again, that's a mindset that's been programmed so that we all think we got something because I got 3 trucks, but then I can't even afford to go get the dirt. And I'm happy just to roll up with my truck, and so it's just that mindset. So we can do better, but we got to know why we're not doing better. And that's some of the research and the study that will come out of it, where you get these developers in the room and found out right now we're giving $30-some million every 3-4 years for asphalt, for roads to get done. But in this county, we have no black asphalt companies. And then if you have a black asphalt company, you got to go to the only 3 mills in this company to get the stuff to make the asphalt, and they all owned by white folk. So why don't we come together and start our own mill and then have a place that we can get these $30 million contracts every other year to be able to run that money back down to our community. So it's just coming together, and that's why I think we lack of on the people level. But on the government level, is sometimes you tie the hands of what can we do if you don't have the capacity to do it. That's why we passed this bill.
Okay.
Cool and research.
Yeah. Brother Jett.
What say you?
What do you? And then we trust each other. I hear saying a lot of saying sometimes Black people don't trust each other enough. And is that the reason why we don't get what we want? Because the other race people know that we will not work together and come together, and so therefore they just keep messing us over.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go back real quick, because it's gonna seem like it's unrelated, but it is. I'm gonna go back to the video Josh played there real quick, and one of the things that the white guy, or the Israeli guy, was anchored in was the fact that Black people have been under Democratic leadership for all these years, and we're in the position we're in, yet we keep voting Democratic leadership in, right? The historical truth is we fared no better when we were under Republican leadership from the mid '60s all the way back to through slavery, right? Because our politics is anchored and rooted in not meaning Black people are no good, right? And so what you do is, and I'm gonna compare all of these things to when you talk about the contracts and those things. What Charlie said is true, and that's on Charlie's end. And then on the other end is, why don't we trust each other? For the same reasons we just said. Sometimes, really, we shouldn't trust each other, right? When you get into the Willie Lynch letter, and if you believe those things, right? Not if you believe whether or not the Willie Lynch letter is real or not, whether you believe those things have happened to us or not, right? And if you believe those things, then we shouldn't trust each other right now, right? Because we're broken people who need some fixing, right? And so now we can come together, but we have to come together with understanding that. So we'll understand where everybody's coming from, right? We'll understand that, okay, so it's not a slight on you that I don't trust you. So now let's put some feet forward so we can show some trust, so we can earn some trust, right? Because any deal we do together right now, we're gonna have to show each other that we can be trusted with each other. The flip side of that is this. Do you know that the IRS, and this is a study too, and that guy, the white guy on the thing wanted to denounce anything that was a study. Let's say you just take that incident and blow it out of hand. Well, people don't study one incident. You don't have enough to case study one incident. It's obviously enough of it to do a study on, right? Well, there was a study that showed that the IRS audits Black people 10, 15, 20 times more than they audit white people, right? And then you saw that with the PPP loans, right? And the reason why, because their net can catch more Black people than they can white people. And when they catch Black people, we're more unable to fight back, so fight off the charges, right? And why is all of that? It's rooted in historical racism and slavery, right? You look at these PPP loans. The reason why the PPP loans turned into and I hate it when we see each other patting on the back or making fun of the fact that Black people are in trouble for these PPP loans. Well, do you think the Lakers, who received a PPP loan, would not have kept it if it wasn't for all the public eye that was on them when they gave it back? Only after the scrutiny, the Lakers received a PPP loan, right? And they don't tell them how many other conglomerates who didn't need it received a PPP loan, right? And so now when these little penny poor Black people receive PPP loans, then the IRS, that's what we get to show out on, right? We're punishing them for stealing and taking this money. I'm not saying it's right, but what I'm saying is the fact is that the IRS audits Black people 10, 20, sometimes 50 times more than they do white people. These are still poor people, right? These are still poor people who you're keeping in a position. These people, and the reason why Black people PPP loan situation was so messed up in the first place is because if you just take down, I'm gonna go in America, right? In Memphis, it's over. It's about 90% plus. In America, it's over 80%. Black people's businesses with more than 6 employees
It's only about it's less than 20%, right? We don't own giant business. So then you try to talk about somebody being able to pay a bookkeeper. Then we tend to be our own bookkeeper. Black companies, somewhere near 90% of them have one or two employees, right? So you tend to be your own bookkeeper. You tend to do your own IRS. You tend to do your own taxes, and it's hard for you to navigate systems if you don't get help getting PPP loans or these federal contracts or things like that, right? And so, and that all of that, the reasons for all of it is rooted way back in the case for reparations and the study that we're talking about doing right now, whether we like to believe that or not.
Yeah.
It can get depressing.
Just yeah, and see, that's the whole reason why I use that clip again, because it just reminded me when you think about what's trying to happen here. When you look at the county commission or anything like that, that's just kind of a microcosm of the whole thing, right? When you got, a lot of white folks vote this way because, like that lady in the video said, I just think this is un-American. She's almost like that guy in the video. Basically like, I just think y'all are just out here complaining and it's not as bad as you think it is. That's the opposition that you're dealing with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And some of it's pure ignorance. I really think it is. Like watching that guy, he literally thought that Roland Martin was crazy for saying what he's saying. So I don't know if you got to go through the whole education process in education when it.
And that's the reason you need a study so you can lay it out for folk. You got to be able to lay it out. Yeah,
because you got to think about, even in the educational realm, when they talk about this critical race theory stuff, they don't want us talking about the truth. They don't want us to talk about what's real. Why? Because they want to be far removed from it. They figure the farther we let their stories go away, then they're not educated enough to even think about the word reparation or anything else that happened to them through their ancestors that still have an impact. So this is scientific evidence, a research that we are the blueprint of granddaddy. We the blueprint. And if granddaddy and grandmama would treat what they were because of the systems that were put in place, then let's put it on the table. Because until we deal, we can't heal. And that's all we saying.
And we're always talking about how we need to heal. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're always talking about how we need to heal, how we need to come together. In these conversations of when we talk about critical race theory, it's divisive, according to them. It's divisive, right? But teaching American history and Columbus was the father of our country ain't divisive to us. It's kind of like the hell with your feelings. When you start talking about real things, it hurts our feelings. That's divisive. Well, we got to get past it and get over that. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. You think we ain't hurt? We hurting right now, right? I can't trust my young kids walking home from school, right? If that ain't some hurt for you, right? We hurt.
Yeah. And for my colleague to say that it was un-American, that hurt. Because we know we didn't gave and family didn't gave. I got brothers 25 years in the Navy and 2-3 wars. Like, how much of America we got to be to for this country to understand what blood, sweat, and tears we have given to this country to give. But again, that then somebody said to me that person was hurt because we questioned the comment of un-American, but now people can dish it, but they can't take it.
Yeah, and as Casewell said, we've been lockstep. The first person to die for America's independence was a black man, right? The first war in this country, a black man was the first person to die, right? We've been in here. We've killed Japanese, we've killed Indians, we've killed Vietnamese, we've killed Iranians. We've gone to war lockstep with the people trying to prove we are American. So don't come to us saying that anything is un-American just because we're required to be American. That's all we're asking. We're asking you to close these numbers and make it fair. Make it right. Sure, some black people will end up poor again on drugs, just like some white people, right? but let it not be because you chose that for that plight for black people. Do we not realize that during slavery, that woman, look at the school system right now. Look at the conditions we got in school right now, right? But do you know that during slavery, there wasn't many things a white person could be punished for doing to a slave. Not many things at all. No white person. One of the things was, I mean, a white person could kill a slave, and there was no punishment, right? Unless it was somebody else's slave, and then the punishment was because you damaged his property. Like if I come to your house and turn your dining table up, right? That was the punishment. But there was one thing. I don't care if the slave belonged to you. There's one thing that you could be punished for, and that was law. Teaching a slave how to read. And right now, we still got a school problem in this country. We still got a segregated school problem in this country, right? See, you can't build something on the foundation and just change it if the same foundation is still there, right?
Right.
One no black people in jails. Very few black people were in jail prior to 1865. Why is it that as soon as slavery ends, jails start filling up with black people year after year?
Right. You got it. And to that point, even up until 1970, you had fewer than 200,000 black people in jail. But when Richard Nixon turned the dollar from gold to Negroes, because the corporation partnered with the prison system. So now today, this building behind me, I keep it there for a reason, because I was 15 and got into a fight at school. That's juvenile court behind me. I was locked up in there, right? But now I sit in the seat that puts the policies to change kids like that. Shouldn't have to go. Should have been addressing why I got to fighting that day. They got to witnessing two of my friends murder and still didn't have no counseling. And you wonder why I'm angry, right? And so, but you locking us up instead of addressing what these communities that's averse, that you know they averse, and not addressing, right? And so it is the change that we got to come to. But to that point, they know that the contract with corporations was that these Negro only gonna get paid 10 cents an hour, but they're gonna build a chair that's gonna sell for $500, $600, $700. So everybody was getting rich off black folk in the jail system. So now in the state of Tennessee, we spend $750 million on 30,000 prisoners in the prison system. Let's use the same number of 30,000 kids in school. We only spend about $200 million on them, almost 3 times more on a man in the prison system than we do on our kids. Frederick Douglass said a long time ago, he said, it's easier to fix a child than to repair a broken man, but we putting more money on broken men than we are on children. Why? Because we know those children, if we don't invest into them, they're going to become broken men, and we can make money off them again. That's where they at.
Because it's profitable, right? In either case, the dollar follows the child. One of them going to follow you to school, and one going to follow you to jail. The jail has to be more profitable. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? Well, you know, it's real, and the fact that this country would put somebody over the Department of Education, Betsy DeVos, who is the sister of Eric Prince, whose family owned a company called Blackwater, who are mercenaries committing all kind of atrocities overseas and things like that for oil money and or whatever, what have you, right? They changed the company from Blackwater to something else because they had the bad press. But Betsy DeVos is his sister, right? And she had never been in education. So that shows you where they want education to go for, because they're going to pay for private schools and all kind of other things, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's still, man, all of this rooted back then.
And I think at the end of the day, it's why it's so important to get involved in like Charlie, man. And, you know, we've been knowing Charlie forever, so, you know, groundwork in the community to get to the point where you're actually in a seat where you can try to make a difference. That's why it's so important to get to that point. Because a lot of times it's hard. And I know, you know, Charlie been through the struggle, man. It's hard that you see the opposition from both sides, from your side and then you almost got to try to keep your mind like, okay, do I want to keep, you know what I'm saying, doing it? But then you in a position now where you can, you know, help affect change. It's not like the fight's any easier, you know what I mean? But at the same time, at least you're in a better position that you can leverage.
And I'll say this: I'm always concerned when freedom fighters and people like Charlie Casewell goes and be elected for a seat, because what you do is you lose a freedom fighter. Right? There are many out there stepping up to take your place and things like that. But if you're doing the work in the seat, that's great. But what I know is, right, it's the same way I had a debate with somebody regarding Captain C.J. Davis, right? They were in opposition of people who are pushing for her ouster and things like that. Now, I'm not one to push for her ouster. I think she did the best job possible she could do with this so far, right? But I don't sweat anybody for pushing her, right? Because what I know is anybody that's been great has someone pushing them, right? We love to say what Abraham Lincoln did for black people, right? But on the opposite side of that was Frederick Douglass, who pushed Abraham Lincoln into his greatness. You have to have that. Yeah. We love what our grandparents have Kennedy on the wall, right? But we know that was Dr. Martin Luther King pushing Kennedy into his greatness, right? So you have to have those people to challenge you and push you, because I wonder what steps would have been taken if there had never been any protests, if there had never been any uprisings and things like that. Sometimes you got to have both, is what I'm saying. And so when Charlie takes a seat, that person who pushed who pushed people into their greatness are not in the seat, right? Hopefully he doesn't need pushing, but more importantly, hopefully we keep raising pushers. You know what I'm saying? And so we don't just lose one, we replace one. Yeah.
Yeah. And I appreciate that comment that you made, that because where I saw it for me, and again, I have learned how to shake the dust off because I know my assignment, right? I don't need a lot of gas to move my butt, right? To get this thing done. And I say that to say, because I understand that when you go upstream, you are there now. I have capacity to change philosophy, right? And if I can change the philosophy of people and understand it's not what's wrong with those young men up in their room, up in their jail right there, but what happened to them, I can then change policy. And when I change policies, then I can change practices. And then when we change practices, we change professions. And so that's what it is like right now, we're changing the conversation from when a child get in trouble in school, the first thing you don't do is throw them in a police car and send them to juvenile court. You send them to a counselor and find out what happened to that child, what's going on with that child, to address it, because we send them downtown is not going to change nothing, right? And I'm in that example of it. And so that's the thing. But I had to be down there. So yes, I'm still in the place that I'm advocating. I'm just advocating in a different capacity. But yes, what I do pray for, Jett, because you just said something. What I'm seeing is like we want a Charlie in that seat. But then when Charlie get in that seat, we push Charlie as if he's one of everybody else because he's not moving aggressive like we want him to move. But you don't know it. We didn't get here overnight. You're not going to push me into destruction. Yeah. I'm gonna say it like Dr. King. Before I got here, I had the dream. God showed me what it was going to be. We're up against real systems. Yeah. What Dr. King was killed because he was about to change real systems. And so therefore understand that part, that it takes again a cycle of us working together, not killing them because the system didn't change last night on one vote. No, it takes a number of still digging through records of stuff, because I'm on the public record board, digging through records of stuff that happened and things that were passed years ago that we ain't even did what was on paper. Let's address that before we start talking about a new law, you know. So
Exactly. And moving back to this reparation, because I happen to think that's one of the most important things we got going. Go ahead, Josh. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
That's almost, you're good. It's almost like the streets have to understand strategy of once you get in there, moving way to get things done. You know what I mean? You can't move the same side inside. You know, it got to be strategic, sound, and you got to be smart. You know what I mean? with how you move to get stuff done, and people on the outside get frustrated, which I understandably so when you get the news and you're not really seeing the full picture of what's going on behind the scenes. So, that's also another tug of war that I dealt with.
And I say even that's okay, because in the end, when it's voting time, Charlie got receipts, right? And Charlie comes from Dixon Home. He comes from North Memphis.
Yeah.
He had been there. So whatever the pushing is, Charlie is like a oak planted by the river, right? Now some other people ain't, but that's because of how they functioning. Charlie is functioning for real in his seat, right? And so you can take the push and you understand where the people come from, and it's okay for Charlie to have a problem with it too, right? Because he ain't got to be no jellyback either. But what I'm saying is, it takes all kind in the pot. And hopefully, like Charlie said, you put somebody like him sitting there, you change the mind of the people. Charlie had a program early on to me that he did. I forgot what that program was, but one of the first things I asked him about, like, wow, what you yeah. I was like, well, you sharing that with the rest of the people in these other districts? You said we had a plan, we're coming together, and I'm putting that out there with it, right? And that's what changed the minds of the people, and hopefully what changed how we view all people, right?
Yeah.
But reparations is definitely a necessity.
Hey guys,
and all of this.
Charlie, Casewell, the Shelby County Commission, and Jett, man, you guys excellent tonight. We want to appreciate you and thank you for joining us on the show. And again, we were talking about reparation and a lot of others as well.
Yeah,
and
this conversation goes many ways.
Yeah,
it's a lot of tentacles in the convo, man. Shout out to GKP. I see the comment. He says, not Jay Worth. He says, not the most guns that win the war. It's the best strategy. That's a great point. So, that is what it is. But good to have folks fighting, man. The good fight. Appreciate both of y'all for coming.
Yeah, and we've got to address something else here before we leave.
Yeah, you got something else? Yeah.
No, not with them. I just got another message. And again, I had said earlier that Bob and Josh are no longer wrestling, announced Bluff City Wrestling, because it was taking too much of our time. We needed to be together more as family on Saturdays and not running for someone else that didn't appreciate running. Even if we needed more time to be spending with our family and do other things.
And let me
so I just got a nasty note from the guy that owned the company. Guys, I'm gonna let you guys go while we deal with this particular situation. And
all right, guys.
This guy, he's called.
Before I go, I believe you now, Bob. But I swear I was still waiting on somebody to come from behind y'all, hit y'all with a chair or something. I just keep waiting on the angle. I keep waiting on the angle. All right.
All right, John.
Charlie, we appreciate you, man.
Same, Jett. Appreciate it.
All right. This character is still dealing with me here. I am not nowhere talking about this guy. We've left Bluff City Wrestling. What else does he want? Johnny Dotson, for goodness sake. I mean, what do we? I told you, we left your organization. We're no longer announcers at Bluff City Wrestling. Why do you keep putting nasty remarks and stuff on Facebook about us and talking about those preachers will write what they said about you? What preachers? You know what? I could care less about even who the preachers were, because you know why? Because they don't have the guts and the balls and the audacity to come to my face. And whoever they may be, if they got the guts and the audacity to come to my face, and they supposed to be a Jesus preacher, and you can't come to my face, tell me, but you got to tell Johnny Dotson, according to what Johnny Dotson has told me several times, And all of this has come out just because we've decided to leave Bluff City Wrestling because we wanted to leave, and we've got other things that are going on in our family that we need to keep a priority. And instead of, we've been running up and down the road, in and out throughout the city, and then, mind you, not giving a dime for our talents and our abilities as announcer for Bluff City Wrestling. He even said, one preacher said, hey, you better watch out for that Bob guy. But he tells me this now after we decided to leave, and he gets angry with me. So all of this stuff is coming out now.
Real quick. I got a question. This is all raw right now. What is the message and where is it? Because I want to see it.
Okay, here is the new message.
Because he seems to delete everything.
Here is the new message he just sent me.
That's a text?
Yeah. He said, Bob, on Facebook Messenger, he said, Bob, you have told the world, stop trying to get more publicity off of bullshit. So you have told the world, so stop trying to get more publicity off of Bluff City Wrestling. What type of publicity am I trying to get off of Bluff City Wrestling? I just simply told you Johnny Dotson. Okay, at Bleedy Wrestling, I simply told you that we weren't going to be a part of Bluff City Wrestling anymore. And now, because of that, all of this comes up, and then you're mad at me for us for pulling out and not being a part of Bluff City Wrestling. I mean, you need to get a life, man. You need to take hold of yourself. Find somebody else to be your announcers.
Real quick, let me throw something out there.
Yeah,
all this.
Okay,
all this.
let me read the rest of it. He said wrestling. He said that's why I am not going to air the pre-tape show or anything else you guys are on. That's talking about the shows that we recorded.
Yeah,
it was announced.
That's fine.
Then he said you are a liar and a sad individual, and those preachers were right about you.
Real quick now, because I've been wanting to say this for a while, and I actually wanted to go live earlier.
And he's been at this for the past couple of days. I don't know what's going on.
I got to get this out.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Now, because I feel a responsibility to say something. Now, again, this is not to like most of the wrestlers or the roster, because we enjoyed what we did when we had the time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little background.
No, this is not about the wrestlers.
Real quick.
Like you said, this is not about the wrestlers.
Just a little background.
Yeah.
Bob grew up a wrestling fan from the days of the 70s of Memphis wrestling. Mm-hmm. I grew up a wrestling fan because of my dad, first of all. And I grew up through the Monday night wars of WWE, and mostly watching WCW at the time. And all throughout that time, even watching Memphis wrestling, when the Johnny Dotsons and the Derek Kings and all of that stuff, my dad took me to the Coliseum to one show when they did the throwback nights and Corey Macklin era and all that stuff. Got to go there one time. It was an honor. An honor to be able to do what we did for Bluff City Wrestling, because it's an awesome experience for a father and son of the wrestling fans of different eras to do together on TV and to do extremely well, despite the revisionist history that Johnny's having right now and all the extremely positive comments from most of the Bluff City Wrestling fans that we do appreciate, and wrestlers that are still there. Now, what I do not appreciate is calling my father a liar. Now, we could have just left and it's cool, right? Now, what I think, and look, y'all know Bob is a man of God. My father's a man of God. It's a bishop. The bishop, and a lot of people like to play with bishop and say it sarcastically. I don't appreciate that either, because I know it was earned, and I know.
And I've got the paper on the wall right there.
It doesn't even matter whether they know that or not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You don't need to prove nothing to nobody. But I know the work and the sacrifices of ministry and all of that stuff. It ain't got nothing to do with money. Even what happened Johnny at Bluff City Wrestling, it was nothing to do with money. He wants to say we left as soon as CW30 left. they left CW30. Well, first of all, we were there before TV.
Right.
He wants to do just, he does a live video this morning. Wants to talk all loud and hood, say, hey, man, I don't lie. Well, I don't lie either, bro. You know what I'm saying? You can come to my face if you want to about it, too. I don't care if you're a wrestler or not. You don't call my dad a lie. You don't call me a lie. You want to flip the narrative about money and all this other BS. It's not true, period. And this is to the other people on the roster of Bluff City Wrestling that I love and appreciate. I'm never going to wish bad on Bluff City Wrestling because I did believe in the vision. It's why we were there in the first place. It's why you want to call Bob a fake bishop and a liar. The same Bob who I had to try to tell sometimes because he spent so much time and effort trying to forward the vision of Bluff City Wrestling that I felt like may have been a little bit too much time because he was so committed to the effort and the vision of Johnny Dotson and those wrestlers. The thing of the matter is he was on Facebook constantly that a lot of y'all saw, putting over storylines with guys like Storm and Brody Honk, going back and forth with them on a storyline and entertainment basis to keep Bluff City Wrestling relevant, going behind the scenes and talking to Lane College in Jackson, in which he knows the guy that was over the university down there and in high positions in media and high positions in Lane College University, trying to get Bluff City Wrestling expanded down there. Talking to Memphis Job Corps and the connections that he has down there, trying to set up potential events in their gymnasium. Talking to the churches in the community. Talking to Eureka True Vine Baptist Church, Fred Tappan, in which we did several TV tapings for Bluff City Wrestling when they were trying to find places to go. Doing the legwork to try to find more events, trying to find a studio, which they did find. They were blessed to find a TV studio down on Sandridge, right off Summer Avenue. Bob did stuff that he didn't have to do and he wasn't even asked to do, to try to do legwork to find them a studio to do the television show. And that's only a fraction of the things Bob did behind the scenes. And he wants to flip the narrative that Bob talking to SVP TV Network, threatening to put out these text messages that he did put out there. Johnny did put screenshots of the text messages there, but he was too dumb to realize that the text made Bob look good because he's doing this trying to see if they can expand the reach of Bluff City Wrestling. It ain't about us trying to be on TV. We give a crap about it. Didn't get paid attention. Didn't care for the most part because we enjoy what we're doing and expand the division of Bluff City Wrestling. But the main reason that we left is because my dad is a man of God. And he has been feeling for a while, even without telling me, to leave. And that's what the Holy Spirit is. Will give you warnings, even with something that you don't really want to do. And I don't think my dad really wanted to. Didn't really want to, the human side, believe that something else is going on that we don't know. But that's what God is. He knows what we don't. And the moment that he decided to do so, and I understand it was last minute with some things, but when God tells you to do something, you're really not worried about that side of things. If anybody's ever experienced that, then you know. Then what happens? The masks fell off. If you ever watch Scooby-Doo, I told Dad this earlier, if you ever watch Scooby-Doo or goofy things like that, and you think it's a ghost or a zombie, and the mask, you find out, you take the mask off, you see what's really going on.
Mm-hmm.
And to say all those preachers that told me about you, told me not to mess with you and were constantly telling me to watch out for you. Well, first of all, who are those preachers? See, you just revealed yourself, Johnny. You just revealed yourself. All those other preachers, as Bob said, didn't have the balls to come to us if you had a problem. I already know who one of them is. I already know who one of them is because he's been on our show many times over the years. Whether it's on this platform here or when we were on 730. Been in studio many times. Been on the news many times. We've promoted many events at this church, and I guarantee you I know who it is. because he's come between the relationship of Johnny Dodson and us before wrestling was even a thing. If y'all remember, Johnny would come on the radio station where we were at 7:30 many times, even talking about the Bible and things like that, right? Because Johnny's a preacher and a pastor. Come on talking about different things. And it was on with this preacher a few times in our studio. And I remember when it was a thing where he was supposed to come on and he didn't return any more phone calls from my dad suddenly. And we never heard from him for weeks or months. The conversation stopped. The returning the text stopped years ago now. If we really want to pull the curtain and be real, like you say, you're from the streets. I ain't from the streets, but I'm real. And I'm a black man. I ain't going to have nobody disrespecting my father. I know nobody likes to hear this stuff, Jett, but it's real. I didn't want to talk about it either. Because I love Bluff City Wrestling. It's owned by a black man. That we spend our time and money, and we didn't even mind. We go to Somerville. We go to Eureka Truvine Baptist Church, Fred Tappan. There was a TV taping we were at this past Saturday.
Yeah.
We were there. And look, shout out to Fred. Opened his church to them. No problem. It was because we opened that door. The event, we had fun when it was going on. But you have to realize, and you want to talk smack and talk about people got all these ulterior motives. No, that's not the case. And I am so glad that God will reveal stuff that you don't even know. You don't even know who's talking behind your back.
Well,
y'all may not like hearing this stuff about people that present themselves in the community as heroes and are doing all these things. But there's so much stuff that we know throughout our history at the radio station, throughout our history of being in media and dealing with a lot of these folks and these clowns that present a mask in front of your face and are working to undermine you consistently. And I'm talking about this preacher that people know in the community that has consistently tried to do BS behind my dad's back and stop things. That's including the relationship with Johnny Dodson. That's including the relationship with other preachers. We've heard the same thing. And I don't appreciate it. And you better be glad I got some type of integrity about myself, that I ain't putting your name out there, because I have no reason not to. So don't be coming at me, Johnny. Don't be coming at my dad sideways talking about he's a liar. Period.
Well,
and that's the last I'm going to talk about it, because I didn't want to do this. Because look, I think Johnny is a great wrestling mind. I think he was wronged in his previous situation with Dustin. It's the whole reason why we got behind him in the first place.
Well,
but
let's put it like this. Johnny Dodson, if this continues,
ain't gonna be no resolve, Jett. Forget like a swift resolve. Look, whatever. At this point, I'm past that. I forgive because I'm a Christian. This is what people need to understand when it comes to forgiving as a Christian. You can forgive somebody, and I do, that do wrong to you. But you know, it is what it is.
Let me say this, Johnny Dodson. Look.
Just chill, bro. Move on.
You need to move on. You need to chill, because if I get anything else like this, you're gonna hear from me, and it's not gonna be nice. And you're going to wish that you had not done it again. Okay, because I'm recording this stuff. Okay, if you want to keep your company and you want to keep things going with Bluff City Wrestling, if you're afraid that it's going to fail because we left, that's not our intentions.
I want them to succeed.
We've got other things to do, and we're not going to continue to run around for you when it's taken away from what we've got to do.
And like I said, it's about what I said it's about.
Yeah.
So that's just it.
And other people involved, I care less about that. But if this continues, and if I get anything else from you, and like I said, I'm recording this stuff, you're gonna hear from somebody. So I hope you've been having fun playing your little games, Mr. Johnny Dotson.
And just chill, man. Because I respect the guys that are there, and they know, and they know what type. They know a lot of those wrestlers. They know what type of people we are.
He was telling me in his remarks on Facebook Live that he put us there, but the wrestlers didn't want us. They wanted somebody else as announcers. They told us, get them out of there. You know what? And that's a big lie from Johnny Dawson, because almost every wrestler that's come out of that back has come out and told me and Josh, man, we appreciate y'all calling our matches. Y'all sound good. We appreciate what you say. It makes me look good. It does this. I've heard that from almost every wrestler in that locker room. And I'm pretty sure Josh has heard the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
And for him to come out, I mean, we have a right to move on. Let us move on. And, and we tried to resolve this with Johnny. But when you're dealing with a person that don't want to do it, then there's nothing you can do. There's nothing else with that person you left to do but to move on. And if they keep poking at you, then you've got to, I'm not going to poke back at him. And this is the last time I'm going to do it. This is it.
Yeah, because
somebody else will poke at you.
I don't like doing it.
Okay?
No.
Okay, we don't have time for this. We don't have time for this. You're black, you complain about white people trying to hinder you to your wrestlers, to us, and all us, and because you're black. I mean, you're doing the same thing to us. All we're saying is we just want to move on. And if you want to throw people at the comments and the things I wrote on Facebook, I wasn't going to say anything, Johnny Dawson. I wasn't going to tell the people anything that we weren't going to come back. I left that message specifically for you, and for you to explain the way you wanted to do it, out of respect to you.
Yeah, I mean,
but then when you went on Facebook and started insinuating and throwing stones, then I said, okay, you want to play that game? I'm going to come out and then I'm going to let the people know what it's really all about. And that's when I made my comment on Facebook. Other than that, I would not have said anything. And, this is acting like a baby.
Nah, I mean, really.
I mean, come on, man.
Just do what you do, bro. Don't be
Get a life, man, and just leave me alone. And I'm telling you, I don't want to hear anything from you again. You can call it what you want. Hear anything from you again. If you and those preachers want to do your thing, you want to hate me for whatever reason, I can care less. Because I'm not even thinking about the whole deal. I don't even know who the preachers are. One we may know, but I can care less who the preachers are. They don't stop what I know and what I've gained in the Word of God. I can care less who they are. So just go about your business, do your Bluff City wrestling, leave us alone. Get your act together and leave us alone. And so I wasn't trying to hinder your company at all by us leaving. We just decided to leave because there are other things we need to do and to make a priority in our lives.
Yeah, it's really
now. Please move on.
I can't tell you how much the preachers thing really ticked me off. That's a whole nother thing, but it is what it is at this point.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, people wonder why stuff happens in Memphis. You got preachers doing stuff like that.
Yeah,
and any preacher that we'd have been any preacher that we'd have been associated with in the city is a complete jerk if they do something like this.
Yeah,
because ain't nothing that we done or you done that would deserve that type of backbite.
Yeah, well,
and especially if you ain't gonna step to us in our face.
That's a coward.
That's a straight up.
That's a straight up coward and a demon. To talk about somebody and you being a preacher, and you can't come up and just even if you got something that you need to tell me that I need to straighten up, come to my face and do so.
Call from to accept, press 1.
Is that call coming through? Call again. Call back in again.
Yeah, just hit the hang up. I'll get it.
Okay.
Yeah, he asked on the cell phone. I wanna ask on the computer. Yeah.
I didn't know if you saw it. Okay.
No.
But at any rate,
and you know this internet thing.
Yeah, I mean, folks, this shows you here how much to pray. And in the last days, the Bible says, perilous times will come. But to be lovers of their own selves. They don't want you, they want you to do what they want you to do. And they love themselves to the point that if you don't do what they want you to do, they want to treat you as an outcast. Let's go to the phone lines.
Caller, welcome to the show.
Everything's good with me, man. But you know, I had to address something. I had to address something, but man. Yeah.
I know,
right? you need to stop it. Come on. Hey. And come on.
I knew that was coming.
Come on. I think that's what your problem was last time. I mean, come on, GK. Why? Why not? Why not? Okay. $5 million apiece. But well, I mean, no, my goodness, I don't know. But
hey, real quick, y'all let me know if y'all can hear GKP. Now I got Frankie saying they can't hear you, but I can hear you. Yeah, we got the systems rolling.
We got everything.
I don't know. Yeah, but I know the internet has been a boogie. Shout out to Xfinity. Y'all need to get y'all stuff straight. They will get a call expeditiously.
I mean,
we might call you back.
I mean, can she hear us now? Can she
can hear us, but I mean, she couldn't hear him.
Why?
I don't know. It's going through the mic system here. So it's my extremely complex board here.
Yeah. Can you?
Hey, look.
You know what? Don't be surprised if you hear from me again about it.
And I want to get you on video, man. Like you got the studio, man. Got it laid out. You know what I'm saying? Want to get the people to see it on our platform one time. You know what I'm saying? Like, despite your face being there, we're gonna move.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, there you go. It'll connect just right then.
We'll stream to the yard.
Yeah.
All right.
All right then.
Hey, GKP said hello.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
Y'all can't hear it, but yeah.
Yeah, we do. Okay. All right. I tell you what, that's gonna do it for us today.
Yeah, I think some of y'all might end up hearing that phone call on the stream, the recording, because we can hear it perfectly. It's weird.
Yeah,
I don't know. But anyway, we'll get that straight. This is our first stream back in a while, so
yeah,
appreciate y'all coming in. Be sure y'all keep in contact on the Talk Back Live with Bob and Josh Facebook page. If you have not, have your notifications on. Tell a friend. We're gonna be back on more consistent, more time to do.
Now look, I want to say this before I leave. Johnny Dotson, he wanted to send me this message. He sent. Okay, I gave him an opportunity to challenge me. I sent him the phone number to the show. Okay, but he's never responded. Okay, it just doesn't make sense. A grown man like he is, he acts like a child to me. And he's young enough to be my son. So you need to go somewhere and sit down and chew your bubble gum. Just leave me alone. Leave Bob and Josh wrestling. And I've told you we were praying for you. We were being nice. And we wish the best for you. Okay? Now just go and do your thing. And stop doing what you're doing and trying to throw stones back at us. All right, we're gonna leave Josh, and hey, that's gonna do it for us today. And appreciate all you joining us and leaving your comments and ask on the show today. Boy, I tell you, there are so many people that think, listen, if you think for 1 minute that Jesus is stupid, you got another thing coming. If you're a preacher, if you're a believer and you're saved, and you're doing all this crazy stuff, and you think, you know why people do what they do and they do it on a relaxed basis? Because they don't believe Jesus is really coming like he said he would. If they really believed that Jesus was really coming back at any moment, I want to take a chance and do something that is ungodly. Why would I want to do that? And he could come at any moment. That's what the Bible says. So do we really believe that he's coming back? Or is it that we just preach it, or some, not me, but some preach it as a religious way of making things sound good? When I teach it and I preach it, I mean what I say. I believe in Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God. And I believe God Almighty and of all mankind. And I fear not with frightened fear, but with reverence and all. God, respect. Come on. Come on. Let's get it together. So I told someone, I said, let me tell you something. They wanted to say, man, this is get worse and worse. I said, let me tell you, I told them this 3 years ago, and I told them again here about a year ago. Mm-hmm. This is what I told them. I said, until the preachers in this city come together and repent to one another and pray, the crime is going to get worse. It's going to get worse. And ever since the time I said that a few years ago, crime has only gotten worse. And it's getting to a level now to where it's outrageous what people do. If my people, preachers, which are called by my name, God says, will humble themselves and pray, we've got to repent. This is what it's all about. The unbelievers and those that are really out there and don't really believe Jesus and take him for seriousness. This is why there are a lot of people that really believe he don't seriously, because the preachers are not serious. Fights and disagreements and so many different religions and teachings and ways and all of this, and they're fighting. Look, I don't have time for it. That's why I don't go around preachers, and I don't have to make it to heaven. I don't have time for it. I just spend time with my family, and I'll do what we enjoy doing and serving the Lord, studying his word, seeking his face, praying for the community, teaching, preaching, healing, salvation, concerned about souls. I don't have time to be concerned about what the preachers said about me. Forget it. You know what? I made a statement earlier. They made it to my face. You know what? I don't even want to see it. It's wasting my time. Forget it. Don't even try to find me. Don't even, just leave it alone. Just don't even come near me. I don't see your face. It's sad. Just forget it. Don't worry about it. And ask God to forgive you. For your wrong. Because I don't hate you. I don't know who you are, first of all, that say that you hate me or you don't like me or watch out for me. I don't even why you said that. I don't even know who you are. I mean, you know, it's funny to me. It's really funny. It's really funny. I mean, you guys are, what do people say? They a trip. I mean, something. I mean, it's crazy.
Good evening, Verdell. Like you coming in late on the action. It's been a lot going on.
Ooh,
We had to set the record straight on some folks. Y'all can see it on the the stream. You can go back and watch it for yourself.
Yeah, well,
here's what it is. I don't regret nothing I said because I'm.
I don't either. I don't regret not one thing you said either.
Because it ain't cursing nobody.
No, you're not. You did.
But it's about setting the record straight. It's about what I'm not going to accept as a man.
Mm.
Gonna call my dad a liar, especially when I know it's not true what he's trying to say. And do it publicly and think I'm just gonna sit back and say nothing. Nah, bro.
I've been called a liar, and I'm trying to find out from Johnny Dotson, what did I lie about? I've been called a liar ever since me and Josh have said we are no longer going to be wrestling announcers for Bluff City Wrestling.
Well, and one thing I know about Johnny, even with the other situations, the people that have gone live about him and times even I've defended him and stuff like that, he's very reactionary and get real emotional. Like you're just going to shoot off to make sure he gets the first and last word on everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times that could be to his detriment. I mean, here's a little more background, just real quick. In the other situations that have happened, this is in regards to Bluff City Wrestling and everything, and people that have talked bad about it. And I'm not gonna lie, just like I said, while we were associated with them, there are folks that hate on that situation and the organization that they had going on there, and still got going on. But I literally saw my dad reach out and talk to Johnny early in the mornings and give him words of encouragement and tell him not to stress certain people and tell him don't, those people say those things worry because you know that you're doing the right thing and that we got his back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Many times. Because we know it's not easy being a black man in anything, let alone a business.
Yeah.
Even the wrestling business, which has a lot of racism in it, to be perfectly honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's a lot of white folks that we saw didn't appreciate having black announcers. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no.
The people that are out there, like other folks in that nature. So that's just one of them things. But this is why it's even more so ridiculous to sit here and say we had an ulterior motive. It is what it is, man. And again, to all the wrestlers, to guys like Storm and Brody, that has a long history with going back to other places, to all the other guys I can't even remember her name, that we've interacted with and had fun with. We appreciate y'all, and we do wish y'all the best because we know how hard it is for a lot of you guys
to make it in wrestling,
and how this opportunity has been a long time coming for a lot of you guys. So this is why, I want Johnny to stop doing a lot of these things that could potentially hurt you guys as an organization.
Yeah.
Just focus on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
The same advice my dad gave Johnny when we were there is the same that applies now. And the last thing you want to do is to shoot off on somebody that's not out to hurt you.
And we definitely not out to hurt Johnny Dotson.
No. Or the company. I wanted to succeed.
And we've said that time and time again.
And still now. So,
and, we didn't leave to try to hurt the company. I don't know where that came from. No. We didn't leave because you didn't go on CW30 or some other TV station. We were there before he was on television. I mean, I had no idea Johnny Dotson was thinking about going on television. That wasn't even my thing. We were just there to do what he asked us. Would you guys be our announcers at Bluff City Wrestling? We stepped out and said, okay, we would do it for him, and then we'll see how it goes. And and over a period of time, TV came up, and so hey, it just happened over a period of time. TV left, so what? It's not about television. And my thing was the reason we left is because, like I said earlier, because it's family time. We were gone. I was gone. We were gone every Saturday. It's out of town or either locally getting things together. And it was our Saturday was shot at the home,
and that's on top of other work.
And that's on top of other things. And it was just too much, gotten too much for us. And I think that we have the right to live our lives the way we want to. And so,
and put our attention on our thing, which is this right here.
Right here. And family life. Mm-hmm. So hey, like I said earlier, you come back, watch the statement tonight about us and call me a liar again and didn't say anything about wishing me well and all this other kind of stuff that you said. I'm not going to repeat it. It's too bad to repeat, Johnny Dotson. But I'm going to say this again, like I told you before. I wish you well in the name of Jesus.
And be careful for whispering preachers too.
Don't even tell me that anymore, because I can care less. Don't even tell me that no more. Don't
Yeah.
Who the preachers? Man, I don't even care. Man, I'm satisfied with what I'm doing, my teaching and things of that nature. And who wants to hear it? That's why I record it and put it out there. And if the preachers that hate me want to listen to it and maybe gain something, hopefully, from it, or anybody else want to gain something and hopefully learn something, that's all. That's what I'm here for, is the hope that I could teach something that can be beneficial, that can help a Christian or somebody in the body of Christ to get people saved and to help give them knowledge and to hopefully lead them in the right direction. That's all. That's what it's all about. All right. And on that note, it's been a pleasure to been with you today. Talk Back Live with Bob and Josh. And I'll tell you what, we'll see you again another time. And Josh may have a sports show or something tomorrow. And then Sunday, we'll do our Bible teaching and Bible study where we take our time. We walk through whatever subject we're talking about, find the meanings of words, and we take our time with the Bible study session as we go along. And
just to let y'all know,
so, hey.
I do want some of y'all to join in on that Bible teaching discussion. I know a lot of y'all watch it afterwards. I know people go to church in the morning and stuff like that. But definitely, if y'all get an opportunity, if we go live, which I believe we will, Sunday morning. And I know Bob's going to put out the time and all that stuff. So be on the lookout on Facebook. Because it's very different. It's not just a teaching at you. It's a very much interactive situation. So if you got questions, you could put them down in the comments. We're having a conversation and learning all together type deal. So
it is I enjoy it. Man, I really enjoy it, and I get a lot out of it. Even though I prepared it or whatever, I still get blessed. And just thinking about it now, the joy that overflows, just learning more and more about Jesus and about God's kingdom and the Word of God. All right, that's going to do it for us today. You guys be blessed. Have a wonderful night this Friday night. Be careful. And we'll see you again. So, show. We may do another show tomorrow, Talk Back Live. But
stay tuned.
Stay tuned because I may do my other show. What was his? Let's talk about it. That's a specific topic, and have a special guest. And all right, have a good night, everybody. Be blessed is our prayer, and be safe.